Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Baseball Adjacent. My name is Taco Josh, and I am here with America's pitching coach. It is Justin Arth, rocking the Rainbow Warrior, Jeff Gordon hat. Kind of a sick look. We have a big episode for you guys today. We have a grounds crew controversy out in Atlanta. Acuna is back. Ohtani is throwing live BP in Citi Field. Harper got lit up and got taken out of the game tonight after a hit by pitch. Eovaldi got pulled after 2 innings. It's that time of year. It's a big episode. Here we have an Instagram and an X, and we were trying to kick both those off. So if you guys are watching, make sure to give us a follow. All the links to everybody's stuff will be down in the description. But Justin, how are we feeling today?
Forget the ankle because nobody knows about that one, and forget the Braves can't win a game. No, I feel pretty good. Baseball is finally Memorial Day weekend. We can understand and start placing teams on where they're going to be now, because typically that old you know who they are once they hit Memorial Day weekend. A lot of these teams are starting to show who they are, and we're going to sit and talk about them.
Yeah, we are we're pretty much exactly 2 months in. We're going to do players of the month, maybe a team of the month next week. So you won't want to miss that. But we want the month to end before we do that. And as we record this, we still have 3 or 4 days left in the month game wise. So we're gonna start with some Braves news. We're gonna let Justin be a homer for a minute. Acuna is back and he's hitting bombs. How are you feeling about that, Justin?
See, Ronald Acuna Jr. being back is the key to my heart. It opens up the soul. I feel good when I walk into Truist Park. It brought a sense of hope. Now, I wasn't at the first game he was back. I was actually at the Sunday Padre game, not the Friday. But he just being in that lineup fills a Braves fan with so much hope that this offense can really start to get going and doing something. We've always seen with Ronald in the lineup that he is the trendsetter. If he gets on base, this offense is typically better. He obviously right now he's not really running a ton, but at some point you would expect, or at least like to hope, he starts kind of pushing the base pass a little bit. Not saying he's going to go steal 73 bags again, but the ability to at least make the pitcher think, which maybe gives an Austin Riley or a Drake Baldwin, whoever's batting second, a little more opportunity to get the runner moved over, or at least the runner in scoring position before they really take their at bat. It's just he makes this lineup just an extra person deeper, because right now the bottom three guys in the lineup with the Atlanta Braves are kind of guaranteed outs right now. We know Nick Allen can't hit worth anything, even though he's in a career year hitting. So Eli White is still getting some PT with Verdugo kind of playing or not playing against lefties. So it's it just adds depth to that lineup and makes this team just all that more scary, or more scary, I should say, if they would actually learn how to hit. Because we are recording at the day of Game 1 of the Philadelphia Phillies Atlanta Braves series, and they couldn't hit at all today. So I'm trying to block my brain out of that. We're not talking about that yet. We will talk about it later. But it's good to have number 13 back in Atlanta Braves uniform.
Yeah, I think the hope is that Acuna fixes a lot of the hitting issues for Atlanta. He's at least at a minimum, he's a spark plug that you can plug in, and you feel like there's at least the opportunity that he could go 3 for 5 or 2 for 4 with a walk, and one of those is going to be a homer or something electric is going to happen while he's at the plate. And I just feel like, having watched a handful of Braves games this year, I'm not watching every game like you are, but I just feel like that's been missing in the Braves lineup. They have the people to potentially do that. It just feels off, and hopefully Acuna kind of snaps people back into it a little bit.
That's the hope, but let me be the pessimistic Braves fan and say we saw that in 2023 amazingly, but in 2024, the 50 games before he got hurt, it was kind of what you're seeing now with the lineup. He wasn't making this team better either. And so it's a weird situation. It's a weird predicament that the Atlanta Braves offense is in, whether it's Tim Hires or Kevin Seitzer or whoever is going to be our hitting coach. It is a weird spot to be in because you look at the 1 through 9 that we run out there almost every day. These are guys that should be performing a lot better than they are. And with Ronald coming back from this knee injury, actually pretty much a year to the day that he returned, because it was like 3 years or 3 days before the official injury date when he came back. Uh, it's uh, it's difficult to want to place all the load on him because you have Matt Olson, you have Austin Riley, you have Marcell Ozuna, you have people with baseball cards, and not just and excluding 2023 from the picture. These guys have baseball cards, like they've done it, and why haven't they been able to do it the last year and a half or the last year and 2 months? That's the frustration, the rant coming out of me. So maybe there's a Braves rant in me later. There's definitely a rant, but maybe we got time for it later.
Yeah, it's I don't it's an interesting predicament because it's I'll bring it to the Rangers. You feel like all the pieces are there for Atlanta, in the same way that you feel like all the pieces are there for Texas. I mean, in a bubble, you look at the lineup for Atlanta and you say, wow, that lineup should kind of bang. Just
Yeah, it's a
looking
good
at,
lineup in MLB The Show.
yeah, looking at the names, you're like, wow, I don't know who's getting out, at least 1 through 7 with Acuna in the lineup. You're like, this should be an incredibly hard lineup to pitch to, incredibly deep, and it just has not proved to be that way at this point in the season. Now, we you said it in the intro. It's Memorial Day just passed as we record this. You kind of know who the teams are at this point. This is a good barometer. We're about a third of the way, give or take, through the season at this point. Do you think it's going to turn around? I know that's a tough question to ask, but deep
Yeah,
down, are you feeling it?
I mean, I don't feel the vibes right now. But as a delusional Atlanta Braves fan that expects success and expects that they're just going to come off and rattle off wins like they've done in the months of June, July, August, like I've seen it so many times in the last 5 years that through the month of April, through the month of May, typically May's the month that we get out of the slow start. Which I mean, it's kind of happened. We've had, at least as of last week's episode, one of the better records in all of baseball, or the second best record in baseball since starting 0-7. I think that's kind of fallen off now because the graphic I saw today, we're like 10-14 in 1-run games, which is now tied for the most losses in baseball in 1-run games. So all the games you're playing are close. But typically now's the time when the team really starts turning it on and playing like the best team in baseball to kind of make up for how sorry and pathetic they start off the season. And if I go back to 2021 when we won the World Series, we were under 500, 105 games into the season or so, and then after that we rattled off a lot of wins, had the best record in baseball. You're a Mets fan, Josh. So that fat Mets fan guy was like, the Braves never lose or whatever. That guy was saying that the division was completely over. The other Mets reporter said the division's over. It's the Atlanta Braves or it's the New York Mets' division, and the Braves they're gone. They're dead. So the delusional Braves fan in me says they can still turn it around, but I think that's just more to do with the pieces that we have and not caring what happens on a night-to-night basis. Because right now, these guys cannot hit with runners in scoring position. We're not getting enough hits in one-run games to take leads or extend leads. And then you're just kind of getting unlucky from the bullpen perspective, too. The bullpen overall is good, but you'd have a couple outings here and there that Aaron Bummer comes in, or Rafael Montero, or even like tonight, Deisbel Hernandez. Either just can't throw strikes, or you give up too many kind of blooping hits that lead to an extra run or two and make the game insurmountable for an offense that you'd think could score 2 runs on a bad bullpen. But yeah, it's it's weird. I still say they have the pieces to turn it around. I'm still going to hold out hope that they do. But yeah, after seeing it 2 years in a row now, it's starting to be like, all right, where's the pistol and can we go and end it now?
Yeah. Some other housekeeping here from Atlanta. Arcia is now a Rocky.
Yep.
We said we'd mention that. So he just, I think, finalized an MLB deal about an hour ago as we record this. So this will be yesterday, likely, as you're watching the full episode at least. Uh, so that's not nothing for Colorado. That's a good, in
He's
theory,
a starting second
MLB.
baseman.
Yeah, that's an MLB player. And you know what? I feel kind of bad saying this, but it's kind of true. The Rockies don't have a lot of MLB players on their roster. So it's an improvement at this point for Colorado, at least. Let's swing it back here. What do you think Acuna coming back? What does his numbers have to look like the rest of the year to get the Braves in, let's just say, a wild card spot, to get them in the dance? Not let's not say take over the Phillies because it seems like the Phillies are just a runaway train at this point.
Yeah.
But get them in the wild card, get them in the dance. It's hard to pin it on one player, but what do those numbers
Yeah.
have to look like?
It's hard to pin it on one player, but I've got to say if Ronald's going to single handedly carry this team, he's got to at least be over 300 in a batting average. He's got to probably get back to about 20, 25 homers, push the 100 RBI total because there's still a chance if he gets really hot, he could be close to 100 RBIs. I'd like to see 20, 25 stolen bases out of him because he's a guy who's stolen 73 before. So 20 to 25 coming off an ACL injury with 2 quarters of the season left, or excuse me, 2 thirds of a season left
Yep.
is feels doable and not pushing it. But yeah, I mean, if Ronald's going to be the one that has to carry this offense, this team, um, yeah, he's going to have to be even better than what he was in a shorter time frame than what he was in that 2023 MVP season, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one to watch. We'll of course be watching that the rest of the season. Let's swing over out to LA cuz the guy, the face of baseball, is that controversial? Maybe. Let us know in the comments. Shohei Ohtani out there throwing live BP in Citi Field this week. It's going to be interesting because you're not really going to be able to have a rehab start with him. So it's just going to be a lot of live BP until suddenly he's in a game for a minute. Uh, the Dodgers rotation we talked about before the season. We were like, they have 10 guys that are electric. And right now, with all the injuries, they have like three.
Yeah.
So Otani's going to be a big ad for LA. I guess my question to you here is what do his pitching numbers have to look like to obviously LA is going to be pretty good no matter what. But what's a successful pitching season coming back from injury for Ohtani? Is it 100 innings? Is it 120 innings? Is it like 85 innings? Like a 3 ERA, a 3.5 ERA? What are for you, Justin? What's the barometer on this is a successful pitching season for Ohtani?
For Shohei Ohtani, you've got to understand that this team's going to be good regardless of what Shohei does pitching. So that kind of lowers the bar on what he really needs to give them because you see guys like Tony Gonsolin and Clayton Kershaw are coming back from injuries and they've not performed well, but they're still racking up wins in the win column because they may give up 5 or 6, but their offense scores 7. So Shohei's ability and the stats that he needs to rack up actually aren't as high as I think a lot of people are going to want to make it. Obviously, if you want to continue to be that next level MVP, yeah, you would love to say he's an under 3 ERA guy, get 120 innings and all that good stuff. I'm saying if I could get 90 innings out of Shohei this year with a sub 3.5, somewhere between 3 to 3.5. I think that's good enough to add some length into this rotation as a lot of their guys get back and the guys that are back maybe figure out some issues that they've got. This offense is it's gonna be that rising tide that lifts all boats, right? Like it's gonna make poor pitching performances from guys that you know have it in them that are better. It's going to lift all that and make the team good. And then if they really get rolling on all cylinders, they're going to be the freight train that you just said the Phillies were, because that team
Yeah.
is 10, 12, 13 pitchers deep if everybody is healthy and performing. And they need to create another expansion team and put it in LA, I guess, for them to have a whole nother 6-man rotation when they're healthy. So yeah, under 3.5, 90 innings. Obviously, maybe 8 to 9 strikeouts, K per nine type stat. I mean, obviously, I think he's capable of your 10 or 11s like Strider and other guys should probably sit. But you have Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's pitching lights out right now, and you can kind of allow him to carry a lot of the load there and just fill in. So Ohtani, I think at best needs to be a solid 2 or a 3 concerning what they have right now.
Yeah, I think the number that I had in my head coming into the season, because it's not going to be, he's not pitching right away. It's still probably going to be another, I would say, minimum 3 weeks, maybe a month realistically, before he's on a mound in a game. Because obviously he's been throwing pens, but live BP is a pretty big step away from a MLB start or even a
Yep.
relief appearance for an inning.
And even if you look at the guys he's facing in these BPs, it's Haesung Kim, it's Kike Hernandez, it's the lower guys on the roster, some minor league guys that might have been able to come over from Tulsa on an off day.
Yeah. It's I think the number I had for this season specifically, him coming back, understanding he's not going to come back until probably about the halfway point. The number I had in my mind was about 60 innings. Thought if he
Okay.
could give you like 60 pretty good innings, which in my mind is about 11 starts for him probably,
Yep.
which is the back half of the year. I don't think they're going to push it. There's no reason to.
No.
You could even rock a 6-man rotation if you wanted to, because the way the roster spot works with him, you would just, he doesn't count as a pitcher, obviously. Um, I don't know, man. I think the inning number is going to be lower than what people would like it to be. I think people are going to say this year he's got to throw 100 innings, and that's just not realistic in half a season for a guy coming back from Tommy John. That, frankly, they're just going to baby him on
Yeah.
the pitching side of it. There's no reason to push it. Why would you, right?
Well, it's the conversations we had last year of, oh, can Shohei pitch in the playoffs? This is the year we should have those conversations. This is the year they can baby him through the regular season because they have that. Then it's getting him more ready for when he has to pitch in the playoffs. Heck, if he, at the very minimum, could come out as a bullpen arm towards the end of a game and close like he did in World Baseball Classic.
Yeah. I guess I should specify. I think like 60 innings in the regular season would be what
Yes.
I'm looking at, and maybe another 10, 15 if they make a deep run.
Yeah.
That feels like a pretty reasonable thing to ask of an arm returning from injury, especially if some of those playoff outings are relief outings. Here's another question I got for you. Let's say in this magical world, the Braves and the Dodgers make the playoffs. Which player is more important for their team's success? Is it Ohtani on the mound or is it Acuna at the plate?
Mm. I've still got to go Ohtani on the mound, but I think a lot of that goes to my biases as a pitching coach, and what differences a pitcher that can give you 5, 6, 7, especially come playoff time. The length that gives you to turn it over to 3 or 4, or really not even 3 or 4, just 2 or 3 really good bullpen arms they got coming out of that pen. I think Ohtani pitching alone is better than anything you get from Acuna. But that again, some of that also is me watching the Atlanta Braves every single day and seeing Ronald go 1 for 3 or 2 for 4 or even 2 for 3 with a homer and 4 RBIs. And we still lose by 1 because Matt Olson can't hit with runners in scoring position, or Austin Riley striking out with runners in scoring position. So maybe a lot of that of opinion is just me seeing the Atlanta Braves not be successful even with Ronald back in the lineup. But I also still feel like pitching, especially come playoff time, is better than a superstar player. I mean, you're still looking at superstar player, elite caliber pitcher in the playoffs. It's still close.
Yeah.
But I still think pitching wins you championships, kind of like how defense wins you championships in football. It doesn't win you games in the regular season typically, or it can win you games, but it's more imperative come playoff time. So I got to go Ohtani, unfortunately, as a Braves fan.
Yeah, I would like to say before the comments get all up in arms about that take is we're talking exclusively Ohtani the pitcher because
Yes.
obviously Ohtani the pitcher and the hitter significantly more important because he's doing two things. If
Yep.
Acuna was on the mound throwing at 100 miles an hour and got like
Which he
15
probably
relief
could.
innings, oh, 100% he could, but he's not. But if Acuna came out and threw 15 damn good innings in the playoffs for the Braves, he'd be the most important player on that roster, and it wouldn't even be a conversation.
Yeah. Hey, Ronald, go ahead and start talking to Rick Kranitz, please. Add you, Schwelly, Strider, Sale, Reynaldo Lopez if he ever gets healthy. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, it'd be a time. So those two guys coming back from injury. Let's talk about a couple of injuries that have popped up tonight as we record this. Bryce Harper got hit by a pitch in the arm. And he was taken out of the Philly Atlanta game that Justin was talking about just a few minutes ago. His x rays were negative. As we record this, there's no other news. So he could just be out a couple of days, could be like a week thing. It does seem like they have avoided significant time off, significant being like a couple of weeks. I can't imagine it'll be more than like a week, which feels like a win if you're Philly. It could be
Yeah.
worse.
In my opinion, I felt like it would just be he's not in the lineup tomorrow and then he's back in for game three after I saw the x rays were negative. But yeah, I think that was the same surgically repaired elbow arm as well. So maybe they want to be a little more cautious with it and hold him out a couple days. And as a Braves fan who really needs some wins right now, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. The thing I was shocked about from the video, and maybe I'll clip it over while we're talking here, it doesn't really look like he's wearing an arm guard, like an elbow
Yeah.
guard. So maybe we'll see that coming soon. Some guys, it's like a feel thing, I have to think. Some guys just don't feel great with it, but I imagine he'll wear one at least for the next week or two while that
Oh,
bruise
yeah.
is healing.
And it's weird because I vaguely remember Bryce Harper being someone that has worn elbow guards and other guards and stuff over things, especially when he first came back from injury and was still performing fairly well. So I don't know why it's not now. Again, like you said, it's probably a feel thing. But yeah, it's something that's still not too far removed from being surgically repaired. If that was the same, you're seeing the elbow inside there. Yeah, if Ronald can wear a knee pad and make it look cool, Bryce Harper can make anything look cool as well. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You're still going to perform.
Yeah. He'll be
Loosen
he'll
up the pad a little bit.
Yeah, he'll be fine. I remember when he came back from the Tommy John, is that what happened? Whatever elbow
Yep.
injury, he had that big like brace on
Hmm.
his arm for a while, I believe both like in the field and hitting. So it's possible. It is possible he'll just wear an elbow guard for a minute. Another injury that popped up tonight from your Texas Rangers, Nathan Eovaldi, taken out of the game for precautionary reasons with a, I believe they said tricep fatigue is what they're going with. They don't expect him to miss time, but that is always a concerning one. You don't love that, but they do say he should make his next start, at least at the time of this recording. That is what they are saying. And we have another injury. We just have to talk about it. It's going to get old. I understand that. But Alex Bregman is out for a while. It kind of looks like the Red Sox put behind the eight ball again with
Yeah.
the whole Devers situation.
And to make matters worse, right as you say that, they just got walked off 5-1 in the 11th inning by the Brewers.
Oof. That's not what you want. The things are not happy and sunny out in Boston. What are they going to do, man? They keep calling up minor leaguers. It's kind of working, I guess. But also, it would fix a lot of problems if Devers would go play third for a month or two, however long Bregman's out, because the way they worded it, it did not feel like this was going to be a short stint on the
Yeah, I
IL.
was hearing 2 months minimum, is everything I've seen when I've looked.
Yeah. So, what are you doing as the Red Sox GM? I know I've asked you this at least one time before, but what are you doing now?
I mean, I'm looking just at the box score from this 5-1 loss to the Brewers here, and the lineup construction doesn't look terrible. I mean, you have Christian Campbell's in the lineup, Marcelo Meyer is in the lineup playing third base, Trevor Story is your shortstop. So obviously, you would like to say Rafael Devers playing third over Marcelo Meyer is probably the better option, but in this game in particular, Marcelo Meyer went 2 for 3 with a walk. So now you still only score 1 run and you lose. But I mean, the
Yeah.
lineup construction doesn't look bad. So in reality, I think this is you let the young kids play, and if you're in a position where you have to sell off at the deadline and call this a bad season, you have Willer Abreu you could probably let go. I've heard kind of trade conversations of Jaron Duran. Cedane Rafaela is another one. So at this point, I think you just have to continue to plug holes with these three high level prospects you've got and hope they can learn on the ropes in the majors with the scrutiny and the pressure of everyone in Fenway Park. And yeah, I mean it's going to be a tough sledding, tough road for the Boston Red Sox, but I think that's just kind of where they're at right now. Because Rafael Devers playing third, I don't think makes you any better when you have Meyer and Campbell and Story already in that infield.
Yeah. The thing that I would think about is as much as I love Abraham Toro, which, I would say on the love scale, it's very neutral. It's like 5 out of 10. I basically have no opinion on Toro. Other than this, he's playing a lot of first base for them right now. He's not really a first baseman.
Yeah,
So, which I guess if you watched Moneyball, first base is one of the easiest positions. Ron Washington even says so in the movie. You can go check that out on any streaming service. Not an ad, just a banger movie. But
good move.
I don't know. He's just not a first baseman. Now Devers isn't a first baseman, but man, it just feels like a lot of things have gone wrong for Boston.
Yep.
Cassis isn't here. We got to start talking about calling up Roman Anthony, probably, if you're Boston.
Yeah.
That's a corner outfield, first base type.
And Christian Campbell has taken some first base reps as well, so maybe that's where you get Toro out the lineup. But yeah, I mean, but also I think Trevor Story's just been god awful this year too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't hurt or it doesn't help, excuse me, whenever a big money guy that should be a lot better is not performing well. 222 batting average with only 6 homers and 21 RBIs through 2 months of the season. Not great.
Yeah, it's not awesome. Man, that Story contract every year, and I know it's not all his fault because injuries, but every year that contract just looks a little bit worse.
Yep.
It's tough. Let's sneak into some happier news here. Let's do some players of the week. This is the time where we do, you guessed it, the players of the week. Justin's the NL guy. I'm the American League. Justin, why don't you start us off with your pitcher and hitter of the week?
Yeah, well, we should have said this when we were talking about the Dodgers, and it continues to pain me to do so. But my NL pitcher of the week is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He had 2 starts. Again, we're not trying to just default to pitchers that only get 2 starts, but when you're really good through 2 starts and maybe another guy's only semi good for 1 start, you're obviously going to rank above that. So Yoshinobu Yamamoto had 2 starts, a 138 ERA, a 148 BABIP, which is outstanding, an 11.08 K per nine, 0 home runs given up in that time frame. And so, yeah, Yoshinobu Yamamoto putting himself and solidifying himself at least in the top 3 in Cy Young voting, just based on another great week of performances, great year so far. of performances. And with, like we've kind of talked about with the Shohei Ohtani pitching conversation, like Yamamoto's the one you can trust in this lineup right now until an Ohtani gets back, until Kershaw finds his feet, until Gonsolin finds his feet. Bobby Miller and any other name you can rattle off. Gonsolin or not Gonsolin. Former Tampa Bay Ray guy. Until they come back from injury and then find their feet, Yoshinobu Yamamoto is kind of carrying this pitching staff and definitely deserves another player of the week, because I think he was one of my players of the week earlier in episode 1. But my NL batter of the week, staying with Japanese or Asian descent players, I have Seiya Suzuki of the Chicago Cubs. He had a outstanding 347 WRC plus with a 500 batting average through, I want to say, like 28 or 29 plate appearances in the week. So batting 500 with 28 or 29 plate appearances, very impressive.
Yeah.
3 homers, 10 RBIs, accumulated a .9 WAR just in 7 days. 14.3 walk percentage. With Seiya, obviously, you still see a pretty high strikeout rate too. I think that was around 14% as well. But he bats third, crucially, in that Chicago Cubs lineup. He's producing for him right now, and the Cubs are just being good, playing really good baseball. And Seiya Suzuki is really coming in the clutch for him in a lot of these different ways, especially this week. So he's my NL batter of the week.
Yeah, Seiya Suzuki carrying my fantasy team right now, not even as a meme. That dude is doing work. And he has had a big week, as Justin said. I got the American League. We're going to start with my pitcher of the week. One start, but it was a hell of a start. He only threw like 93 pitches. It's Tariq Skubal. Threw that complete game a few days ago. His last pitch was like 103 miles an hour, I believe. That
Boss
was,
way to go out.
yeah, 9 innings pitched. Obviously, that's how complete games work when you throw some shutouts. He just looked dominant. It's like an eye test thing to a certain point. He only allowed 2 hits. He didn't walk anybody, I don't believe. No earned. Let's see, 13 strikeouts in that game. Just kind of a banger game. And that's a Maddox, as we call it,
Yep.
if you're new to baseball. And a Maddox has not happened with that many strikeouts ever, I believe, is what I read. And so that felt worth noting. Just one hell of a game, if we're honest. Hitter of the week, and this will transition us to the last thing we're going to talk about. Hitter of the week, Ryan O'Hearn for me. That dude has been going off. 6
Carrying my
games this
fantasy
week.
team.
Is he?
Yeah.
28 plate appearances this week, just the one homer, hitting 600. So that feels pretty notable. Dude is having a hell of a year for Baltimore in a year where Baltimore really needs it, because God knows where they'd be without that bat in the lineup at this point. That's not the name you would think, but it is the name that has shown up. It's not the hero they deserve, but he is the hero they need, I guess, at this
And it's
point.
not future Hall of Famer Jackson Holiday.
No, that's a
All of you won't understand that reference, but Josh does.
no. Yep, that's a conversation maybe for another day. 15 hits this week, 12 singles, 2 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs, couple of walks, been intentionally walked once, has a stolen base. Just a really good week for Ryan O'Hearn. So he is our AL hitter of the week. And I would like to talk about, just for a second, because we talked about it pre-show, some deadline stuff. He has got to be near the top of the rent-a-bat players this year. I believe he has a team option for next year for $8 million. So you would potentially have another year of control if you wanted it. But if you didn't want it at that price, you could just get it for this year. Hitting 340 on the year, has 8 home runs. Is he the best bat right now? If you're trading for a hot hand, he's got to be up there in
Oh
available
yeah.
bats for struggling teams. He's got to be 1 or at least 2, I would imagine.
Oh, most definitely. You need hot hands. Like I'd go back to that 2021 deadline with Alex Anthopoulos. Like he got guys that were batting cold, but were getting hot right at the right time, and they got hot as soon as they came to Atlanta. So trading for hot hands, as long as they can transition well to that team, you're golden in a playoff run like that.
Yeah, he's exactly the kind of bat that everybody wants, I think. He's a
He plays first base, plays corner outfield spots. Like dude can
lefty
DH.
bat, kind of
Yeah, lefty
matches.
bat.
He's been on good teams in the past. I think that's overlooked a lot when you're looking for trade pieces. Sometimes you trade for guys that just haven't been there in the playoffs, and then the spotlight turns on, and you're like, oh no, this is not what we signed up for at all. But he's been
Yeah,
on
Tom
some
House
pretty
likes
good
to call
O's
that rectus
teams.
figuralis.
Yeah, he's been on some good O's teams, especially recently.
Hmm.
And he's played pretty well on those O's teams. If you have a spare moment, and I'll flash it up on the screen, go look at his just O's career. He's been a real solid player. He's been 1.2 WAR, 2 WAR. He's at 1.9 so far this year. He is probably the Baltimore All Star if I had to guess, because he seems like he is just the runaway best player on that team right now, at least hitting wise. And
Hmm.
it's not particularly close, in my opinion. Just kind of a great year for Ryan O'Hearn. It capped off this week by an even better week, if we're honest. So I just wanted to highlight that. And I believe, unless you have anything else, that's about all we've got.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Other than the Brian Snitker did not call out the grounds crew. That is Mark Bowman's words, not Snit's. I listened to the actual interview on the drive home from that loss. So yeah, don't trust the Braves beat reporter, especially if his name's Mark Bowman. Is what I will say.
You heard
That
it
is my
here.
final part.
You heard it here first. You know what? What are we gonna do? Beat reporters are gonna beat report sometimes. And sometimes it's not always truthful.
We love you, Kevin Mangan. There you go.
That's true. Well, thank you guys for watching. Look out for the furries at City Field this week, because evidently that's a thing if you're out there. Justin, comment a player that's not Andrew McCutcheon to end the episode with.
All right. Well, to keep it on that vein and make the furries mad, how about Reese McGuire? Jake knows.
Yeah, Jake knows. He's jacking it. We're packing it. We'll see y'all in the next episode. Take it easy.